Good.
Ready to take my clothes. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 2016 meeting of Patchogue Village Planning Board. Before we get going, our usual announcement that the fire alarm goes off in the building. It will cause loud ringing of bells. Please get up and exit to your left, out the doors, go either out that door or out the front door, whichever one is the most expeditious and safe to get out. Please walk, don't run. We don't want anybody tripping. Everybody will get out of the building safely. Stay on the sidewalk when you're outside. Please don't get in your car and attempt to drive away because fire trucks are going to be coming from the other direction and that can get ugly. So once the building has been inspected and we're sure that it's all safe for us to come back in, we will do so and complete the meeting. And I just wanted to remind everybody there's no smoking on the building or on the premises. And if you're still smoking, you should quit anyway. I do. So we have a pretty good agenda this evening. We'll get right into it. So first on our agenda is 111 West Experience. 111 West Avenue seeks permission to change of use to a malt house. Subject premises in the Ear Industrial District. Is the applicant here? Yes. So please come up to the podium. You have the receipts from the mail that you gave to Carol.
Yeah, I got it all.
Okay, so let her have that. Thank you, sir. Please state your name and address for the record and tell us all about your application.
Okay, I'm Zimmerman, B-R-I-A-N, Zimmerman, Z-I-M-M-E-R-M-A-N. 39 Irwine Court, Massapequa, New York, 11758. Okay, what I'm doing is putting a malt house in half of the building, about 2,200 square feet. A malt house is basically where we take raw grain, we soak it in cold water, we let it germinate, then we dry it under low heat conditions, more or less dehydrating it to make it usable for beer, distilled spirits, and also baking products.
So essentially your job is to supply the work product to local breweries, is that the case?
Yep. Yeah, processed product and also.
Is there any waste involved in your business?
We have some water coming out of the tanks, but hard waste, not really. It's all, it all comes in big reusable 2,000-pound sacks.
Right.
Then it's bagged and it's out the door, really. That's pretty much all there is to it.
So how much water in the course of a week would you be discharging into the water?
Wastewater, probably about 600 gallons, 6 to 1,000 gallons, depending on how many tanks we're using at a time.
Okay. And you're on the sewer system?
Yes, it's going to be on system.
And that effluent, does it have any deleterious effects on the sewer district? Have you discussed that with the sewer plant operator?
No, it doesn't, and we already sent the information into the town, and I forget who you used.
H2M?
H2M.
And
H2M said it's okay.
they're good with
They
it?
found that it's acceptable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other waste that, what happens to the waste product when you're done? Does that go in garbage? Does that get recycled?
The waste grains are going to actually be reused. It goes to a farm because it's very good for them to eat, like chicken, cows, whatever. They can eat that stuff. Or it can be just spread out for birds, or it can be put on the land. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just raw grain.
How many trucks would you say a week are going to have in that facility?
Well, it's an 8-day process, so the trucks we're not really using the trucks, maybe one truck for our own, and then we'll ship out a lot of the stuff. Yeah, a truck will come in once, twice, 3 times a week.
How big a truck?
No bigger than like a UPS truck, like a small UPS truck.
And where will you be storing your vehicles?
The one vehicle can ride right into the shop. There's a garage door, you can back right into it.
Okay. So there'll be no parking on West Avenue because that's now a single lane road and that's not going to fly.
No, I don't think we won't do that.
What kind of hours of operation do you foresee for this business?
The hours will be from, it'll start early in the morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, I guess, with the soaking. Well, it's actually running 24 hours a day, but the actual activities,
Right.
where you're cleaning the grain, will be more of an afternoon, evening type of thing.
How many employees do you think you'll need for this?
It'll start with 2 employees, then we'll get to 3 probably by 6-8 months.
Would there be a night shift for this, or, I mean, the process continues 24/7, but I assume the facility is only staffed certain hours?
Yes, there will be no night shift, that's when the drying process will happen, or the grain will be soaking, and then automatic turners will be turning the grain.
And you said this is an 8-day process, generally speaking, from start to finish.
Yep, 8 days.
So there's no chemicals used in the preparation, this is just simply water, or?
Simply cool water, not even hot water.
Okay, so there's really no concern about any kind of hazardous materials or anything?
No hazardous materials at all.
And the dryers and things like that that you're gonna be using, is there any noise involved with that that's gonna be throughout the, I mean, there was condos and things like that very close to.
All right, I don't foresee any problem with that kind of thing because it's low input. The temperatures vary from 90 degrees to start, then after maybe 2 days, it goes up to 120 degrees with low volume air running through it, so you get it through the grain bag. And it's all inside, it's not an outside process.
So you said it's like a dehydration, like the regular food that you would dehydrate, it's similar?
In a bigger scale, yes.
And how big is, when you receive the grain, what's the size, is it,
About 4x4 pallet.
and then shipping out would be how?
That'll be in bags about the same size.
So you're kind of the middleman for the local breweries? so to
And the
speak?
local farmers, I have farmers out on the east end, they're growing it from year ready. So what they're doing is they're shipping it to me, it needs to be changed so the brewers can actually use it.
Mhm.
So the closest one is up in Albany, basically, at this point. So this is gonna provide it for the local, brewers and distillers.
Are you presently, I'm sorry, are you presently in this business, or is this a new enterprise for you?
It's a new enterprise. There's 8 of them in New York State at this point in time.
And then you said none of them allowed.
None of them, and none for about 200 miles.
Is there a permitting process for the state in order to run?
It goes through ag markets, yes. It's a natural food processing license is what you're gonna need for this.
Is this organic? Is this considered organic?
Well, the grain's not going to be organic, but my process is, because we're not using chemicals in anything. But if they don't really, they only spray the grain once really to keep, things off, and that's all they're gonna do that.
Typical GMO.
Oh, there's no GMOs on it either. It's not cost effective for the seed companies to work on this because it's such a high volume thing, so there's no GMOs involved either.
So what is the actual grain that you're gonna be?
Wheat, barley, and rye at this point. And corn if anybody needs some corn. Make some moonshine somewhere.
The man.
Oh, maybe. That's a big thing in the market too.
You'd be leasing this property, I assume.
Yes.
Now, is this drawing you've given us, is this the entire building, or is this half the building?
Which drawing do you have?
These Malt House.
Oh, that's it. Oh, that's the entire building? I'm just taking this half right here.
This half.
That part right there.
So this half with the coolers in, this is not part of your
That's not part of me.
That's what's pre-existing in the site.
Correct.
Okay. But what's on the left-hand side of this building is what you actually you'll have in there. You'll have several tanks and a few racks. And
3
what I
tanks,
see here is exactly what it will be.
pretty much exactly like that, yes. Depending how it's gonna fit in there like a jigsaw puzzle.
Are any of these tanks elevated?
No, they're not, they don't need to be elevated.
So you're basically pumping from these tanks?
Yeah, pumping from the
Not
water, getting
gravity.
pump or free flowing out, because what you're looking at now is it's small, but the bottom area is about 3 feet higher, there's a concrete pad there already.
Okay.
So those stairs go to an elevated platform where you're gonna have these tanks and then killing them.
Correct,
The coolers, I'm assuming, are pre-existing from the banana company that was there?
correct.
And then you have nothing to do with that.
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Where are your employees gonna park?
Is that something?
Yeah, well, I guess that's what hi, my name's Pete Cotter. And my partner and myself, we have 111 West Experience, and we're the landlords there. So I guess that's the second part of the conversation. I have some other drawings as well. And as far as the parking, that's been something that's been had some conversations with Carol about, and that's why I'm here this evening. We have a tenant for the other half there as well. That's very interesting to me.
But
So,
we're not discussing that one tonight.
Right, that's parking.
Just wanted to verify on the record that in fact the other half was gonna be empty and then you'll have a subsequent application.
okay.
But I guess at this point, Carol, the only parking that's really there is the municipal lot, which is not part of the railroad, it's all a lot, correct? So that's gonna be your only parking. That's why we were so concerned about, if you're gonna have a bunch of trucks, you're not gonna have any place to put them.
All right, there's only gonna be the one truck and the employees during the day, probably 2 employees.
Did you say the truck could fit in the building?
Yeah, there's a big overhead door.
Yeah,
It's
but
his truck, but not the
Right
truck.
by the stairs here.
you have a malt floor at the spot where the truck would go.
That was just something that the designer and engineer looked at, and I was like, I don't need a malt floor at this point, because it's an all-in-one pneumatic system, that's why we have 3 tanks instead of 2.
So where it says malt floor is where the truck will go.
Yes, we don't need the malt floor.
Okay.
Is that why it's crossed out?
Huh?
Is that why there's a slash through that?
Yeah.
Where will the trucks come that kick up? They're going to hit the, up on the curbs?
There's a curb cut right at that point,
Is there enough room, is the building set back enough for a truck to pull in? Not beside your truck, I understand would be inside, but is there enough room for a truck to pull up without access, without disturbing traffic, because the road is narrow there, it starts to narrow because of the condos, so.
Yes, it's about, I'd say 25 to 30 feet between the building and the road. So they've been using that for loading, the banana company, of course, has been using that for a long time now, that loading dock. And the loading dock is actually inside the building, so the trucks can pull in and load up there.
Yeah, our only concern is that we don't want to track the trail of trying it back in there, trying to block up. West Avenue is now a boulevard, so, so it's no longer a 4-lane thoroughfare.
Right.
And so we need to be careful about that.
Yeah, I don't anticipate getting tractor trailers in there at this point in time. Anyway, because we're so small a volume, that's for a larger amount of grain.
Did you make application to the ARB? Are you doing improvements to the building?
I believe, some approvals is what I would be looking at for tonight. I believe we put in an application, yes.
Just curious.
As well, yeah. We'd like to get, of course, as soon as possible, we can start work on it. And we're just sort of debating on how far we can go with it, if the other tenants approve it.
But you do plan on making improvements to the property?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
If you are approved?
It needs a lot of work.
Yeah, the building.
So when you come back to us with your plan, which will be next month or the month after, whenever you get it done, you're not on the agenda tonight, right, Carol?
No, they're not.
Then you'll come back with those site improvements, right, the facade, et cetera. Did they have to go to ARB? It's not in the business district. No.
It's the industrial district.
Okay, come on, son.
We start on basic things, repairs, to the roof and things like that, and the leaking, those kind of things.
That will need
Well,
building permits
Just
for.
go see the building department, those
Simple
kinds of
building
things.
permits.
Okay.
The next application is gonna require a zoning zone.
Right, okay.
Mr. Zimmerman, just for the record, along the same lines of the malt floor being deleted, it looks like there's a slash with the so-called kiln. Is that also eliminated from the plan?
Yes, the kiln is eliminated.
Kiln also eliminated.
Yes, we do not need a kiln, because that's a different process.
How do you dry it? Once you've soaked it, how do you dry it if you don't use a chemical?
Well, it's called a pneumatic system at this point in time. So basically what it is, it's an all-in-one system, everything's in one tank, there's a full bottom on that tank you're looking at right there. And there's just a blower that blows the warm air through a heat exchanger.
And compressors located inside the building.
Mhm.
And it's muffled, so it's not going to create a lot of noise.
Exactly.
Because we want you to be a good neighbor here, because you're right next to some very nice housing.
Oh, I'm gonna be a good neighbor too.
There's no, I know we've already checked this, but there's no different smells that come from this process at all?
No, if it is, it's a light hay smell. If that. Like a light drying hay in the sun, nothing crazy. I talked to some malt houses upstate, and they're like, it's like almost like they were putting an application in Buffalo where they have a cereal plant. They're like, it's no more than making Cheerios.
This is fueled by electricity and natural gas also, or?
Just electricity.
Because it's an air dry process.
Mhm.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? Is there anyone in the audience who wish to speak for or against the application? Okay, you guys can have a seat. Ma'am, you can come up, state your name and address, tell us what's on your mind.
Hi, my name is Carol Ciglio, and I live at 142 Rosewood Court, Riverwalk. I just want to state that when the postman came with the certified notice, he had a stack. And I spoke to him and he said, I don't know how I can deliver these because half the residents are not here. And so I'm just wondering if Mr. Zimmerman has met the requirements for notifying everyone.
He has to send them out.
in
It is posted, the property was posted, and it was also appeared in the paper. He made the attempt to send them out. If people weren't home or didn't go to the post office to get them, that's beyond our control.
Okay,
He certainly did meet his
I just
requirements.
feel like these people have no clue because they're not in yet, and so, and also, I'm concerned about the smell.
Yeah, we've kind of checked that out independently, but I asked John this.
Okay, well, that's my concern,
Yeah.
smell, noise, and of course parking, because
Yeah.
we know how dear parking is in the area.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak for or against the application? Being no one else coming forward, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
And all those in favor? Aye, opposed? So carried. Okay, you'll be notified of our decision. Thank you. Next on our agenda this evening, tap room, 114 West Main Street, seeks permission to